Guys, it's Mike with another Fieldcraft Survival Tribe update. Hey, if you guys have been tuning in, last week we were in SEMA and we did a free seminar after presenting the Fieldcraft Survival truck at the SEMA booth. We had a good turnout, had about 40-45 people show up, where we taught survival mindset, we talked about survival psychology, how to mitigate stress, active shooter, and then how to treat trauma. It was a great turnout. We were able to use City Hall in North Vegas, and we appreciate all the support and the continued effort of having these free seminars throughout the United States. If you guys have been paying attention to the news lately, we had a mass shooting again in Texas that killed 26 people, 26 innocent people. You know, there's a lot of reasons why we do what we do. One of the reasons is we want to better prepare you guys with information and experiences that me and Kurt learned overseas. So we take this job very seriously. We decided to host every so often free seminars, free survival seminars in every community that we can get to. Our next survival seminar is going to be in Gilbert, Arizona, not this Friday, but next Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. We have a max capacity of about 1,300 people. About 120 have already signed up. We're looking forward to hosting that and teaching you guys a couple hours of information that could save your lives. So thanks for the support on that, guys. Something else that we rolled out this weekend was the Tribe Upgrade. You know, the intent of the Tribe Upgrade is to teach you guys via video the content that you wouldn't normally have access to. You know, if you live on the East Coast, if you live on the West Coast, you aren't able to get out to our training, we offer this bi-weekly service of sending you guys videos of tutorials of our actual training. And that includes carbine, pistol, concealed carry considerations, mindset, physical fitness, you know, the whole spectrum of survival and preparing yourself for the worst case scenario. You know, we have about 100 members sign up for that over the weekend. That's a good rollout for us, and we continue to have and push for the Tribe Upgrade so we get to build our community. Our tribe updates up to a couple thousand members. We appreciate that, and we're looking forward to the VIP access for the Tribe Upgrade members and hosting for the Tribe Update members a forum for survival and you know, having firearms instructions, talking mindset, having a good raffle for raising money for nonprofits, and it will all take place in Burnet, Texas this spring, so stay tuned for that. Today's conversation, we're talking about concealed carry considerations. You know, when I was a contractor overseas, we worked in semi-permissive environments, which just means it's a dangerous environment. It's pretty safe until it's actually dangerous. So similar to the environment that we live in the United States today. You know, some takeaways from the lessons learned already from Texas are that in order to protect and defend your life and other people's lives, you have to exercise your Second Amendment rights. You know, if it wasn't for that Good Samaritan who decided upon himself to take justice in his own hands, there would be a lot more casualties, there's no doubt. He showed up on the scene, he defended life, he shot the suspect 2 times, which made him flee. They pursued the suspect, who ultimately ended his own life like a coward. And there's no doubt that without that Good Samaritan, we'd be talking about more casualties than the 26 lost lives that were taken that day in Texas. So when you look at concealed carry considerations, the first thing you need to understand is you need to educate yourself about firearms and educate yourself about concealed carry laws in your area. We're always working with law enforcement in order to, you know, disseminate the proper information that's aligned with the laws, rules, and regulations of individual states. You know, when I carry a Glock 43, which is a semi-automatic pistol, and I carry it in Kydex, typically T-Rex arms, or you know, a varying degree of Kydex options, and I carry that in appendix carry, which means I carry it in the center of my belt buckle or in center line with my body. The reason I don't carry on the right side or the left side on my waistband, on the outer waistband, is because I don't want to print. I don't want to let anybody know that I'm carrying a concealed weapon, because that makes me a target. You know, this is not an overt carry. There's time and a place for overt carries to reduce the chances of something happening, but in my everyday carry, I want to ensure that nobody knows that I'm carrying this. I choose a Glock 43 because a Glock 43 is a single stack 9mm, which just means basically that it's stacked all the way down in a line, single stacked instead of double stacks, which would make it a little wider profile. This single stack 9mm Glock 43 is the perfect form factor, perfect shape and size for me for summer carry. You know, I could wear a t-shirt, I could wear jeans, and nobody knows that I'm carrying this when it's laying flat against my stomach. Another option is a little bit more robust, and that would be my full-size carry, which is a Glock 17. You know, when I was a contractor overseas, I typically carried this Glock 43 or Glock 17 because of the magazine capacity. You know, with this magazine, I can carry a 17-round magazine with one in the chamber, and plus I can get a 2+3 base plate, which increases my round capacity. You know, this is a 9mm. I prefer 9mm because of the amount of rounds, well-placed shots, you know, remaining accurate and fast. You know, a 9mm will do enough damage to stop an intruder. There's a lot of, you know, debate about which round is the best. I'd say if you're looking at home defense rounds and you're looking at something to stop somebody, you want to go with something that has a hollowed or serrated hollow point in it that does a little bit more damage, which displaces tissue, causes more damage, and is considered a home defense round. You know, these self-defense rounds are a little bit more expensive, and this isn't what you're going to shoot on paper when you're practicing, but this is a good option for self-defense. Another consideration is understanding what kind of gun you're going to carry depending on the season. You know, if I'm carrying in the wintertime, typically I'm going to carry this because I could wear a jacket to kind of mask, a big puffy jacket to mask the carrying of this weapon system. Also, if I'm somewhere where I feel it's a little bit more escalated threat, let's say I'm going into a neighborhood that's you know, crime-ridden, or I'm doing something that's high risk. You know, I'm teaching a course and you know, potentially there's a risk to my life. I'm going to use this weapon system because I want something that's a little bit bigger, full-size frame that I could go to work with a higher mag capacity. If I'm carrying and I'm going to the movies, you know, I'm hanging out in town, going to restaurants, I want to carry a single stack 9mm so I don't give away the fact that I'm carrying a little bit something a little bit more smaller. I also carry a J-frame style pistol, a synthetic Ruger LCR. Now, Ruger LCR is a 5-shot 38+P, which is the caliber, and means that I can shoot a little bit more velocity out of it. It's a synthetic gun, so it's light, and it doesn't have a hammer on the back of it. So you just pull the trigger and it goes off, but there's no exposed hammer. Now remember, the disadvantages of this gun, semi-automatic, is once this cycles and the slide reciprocates, which goes back and forth, you have the chance of inducing a malfunction if you're around your clothing and you get hung up. If you have a J-frame style revolver and it's inside your pocket, for example, or inside your purse, for example, you could literally shoot through your jacket or shoot through your purse with that weapon system inside of your pocket or inside of a purse. So that means, you know, if I'm wearing a huge puffy jacket and I'm walking around, let's say I'm in a bad neighborhood, I'm pumping gas, I might stick my hand in my pocket and have my hand on my revolver while I'm pumping gas to act as a deterrent and potentially give me a little bit more time to be able to pop off shots to counter an imminent threat, as opposed to getting on the gun, pulling the shirt up, and then working it. Pearl, sit down. This is what I deal with. Good girl. So another consideration too is to understand that this weapon system is good to have, but at night, if you don't have night sights, if you don't have a light source, how are you going to manage that? You know, something me and Kurt are pushing all the time and will continue to push is everyday carry. Your everyday carry should be staged and ready to go at any time before you leave. And the last thing I want to talk about is when you're prepping your equipment, you're laying it out, that's an important aspect of getting ready in your everyday routine. You know, if you're fishing around for guns, for knives, for lights, for keys, for wallets, you're going to miss something. Next month, we're working with Guerrilla Outfitters, and we plan to have a Fieldcraft everyday carry tray, which is going to be kind of cool, where we can start pre-pulling all your kit, having it laid out every day, and then being able to go to that place and stage and load out every morning. During that loadout, an important aspect of preparation is an administrative load. There's controversy about what an admin load is and if it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. What's the difference? You have an admin load, you have a tactical reload, and you have a slide lock reload. An admin reload is a reload that you do in a safe place where there's no rush. You're not under a time constraint. When you do an admin reload, you are checking the function of your pistol and checking the chambering of that pistol to make sure that when you put that gun away, it's ready to go no matter what. A tactical reload and a slide lock reload are under time constraints. I've done tactical and slide lock reloads in combat, and it all depends on the situation. Let's focus on the admin reload. Every morning when you get up and you go to get out of the house and you're going to get your gun, you're going to ensure that your gun's, at night, if you decide to unload it because you have family, the gun's unloaded and sitting in your tray, unloaded. You have the mag somewhere else, or you have the mag co-located. You do what's called a press check on your gun to make sure it's loaded. But let's go over loading procedures. All right, the first thing you want to do, if you haven't done it already, is you want to unload the pistol. When we unload a pistol, we always drop the source of feed, which is the magazine, and we lock the slide to the rear. Don't worry about catching that round. If it comes out, let it extract and eject, and don't worry about it. Pick up the round later. Once you have it here in this, you have the slide locked back to the rear, you do a 3-point check. You're doing a safety check. You're checking the breech or the chamber to make sure it's empty. You're checking down through the mag well to ensure the source of feed's not there, and then you're checking the bolt face. As you do that, when you lock the slide to the rear, you're also testing the operating system by managing the recoil operating rod and spring. You could cycle it to make sure it's good to go, and there's no impingement or no obstacles stopping it from reciprocating. So naturally, you're doing basically a functions check by just doing an unload and then a load procedure. For an admin load, what you want to do is lock the slide to the rear, that 3-point check, and then you're going to take your magazine. You're going to properly seat your magazine. There's no rush here. You're properly seating the magazine and sticking in the mag well. I do a little pull on the mag well to make sure that it's stuck in the mag well. One of the most common malfunctions and errors in loading a pistol is the magazine's not properly seated, which means that the round's not properly seated in the chamber. So then when you go to rack around or chamber around, you're not actually chambering around into the barrel. You would chamber the slide or rack the slide, and you would think it's loaded, but it's not loaded. And then when you go to shoot, you hear a click, and then you have to slap, rack, and bang, and then you realize that the magazine wasn't properly seated. The first time you pull your gun in a gunfight and go to work, you don't want to hear the click or the sound that's heard around the world. Okay? So the next thing I do is after I properly seat it, I pull in the magazine, I turn it over, and I look down into the chamber. You'll see a round sitting in the chamber on top of the magazine. When the slide goes forward, it's going to strip the round off the magazine and load the round into the chamber. All right, so what you don't want to do is you don't want to ride the slide forward. You don't want to manage the slide mechanically and let it ride forward. You want it to operate like it typically functions, meaning you either want to grab the rear of the gun, pull it to the rear, and let it go, which will load the round, or you want to drop the slide catch on this side to chamber the round. Okay, so on this, I like to prefer to go over, hand. I look down into the chamber because I want to see the round being stripped off the magazine and then loaded into the barrel. All right, so I look down and then I see it loaded. But is it loaded? Is my eye able to see that? I looked at it and I don't know if it is. Some pistols have a little magic window on top of the barrel that allows you to see the brass, meaning you could see the brass in the chamber. But on this gun, this Glock 43, I can't see anything. In the corner of the barrel, I see the brass, but I just want to make sure. So what I do is called a press check. A press check means you're pulling back on the slide from the rear or from the front so I could see the round physically in the chamber. When I do that, I'll see in the window, the brass is visible, and then I'll let it go. A common error made in press checks is they don't allow the slide to go fully forward and chamber and create a chamber, a lock chamber with the round in the barrel. So what I mean is it will be sitting like this where it's half cocked. Make sure once you do a press check that you lock it, pull it to the rear, you let it go, and then you push back on the slide or push forward on the slide to ensure that it's fully chambered. Once that's good to go, it's loaded. What I do is I look down my sights to ensure everything's good to go. I even pull my magazine out and check to make sure that I have the appropriate amount of rounds in here. Remember, if you loaded the gun with 17 rounds, then you're going to look in your magic window and you'll see 16 because you just lost a round. So what are you going to do with this? You're going to top it off and then reload it into the bottom of the magwell. Seat it, pull back on it, and now you have a gun that's fully topped off. Right? That is your morning pre-combat inspection. Every single morning when you get up and you're loading out your everyday carry, that's what you need to do. All right? You take it, put it back in your holster, and then you're ready to do work if you have to. All right, guys, that's it for the Tribe Update. I appreciate hanging in there with me. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys want to order anything on fieldcraftsurvival.com, we got the swag, we got the equipment, and we also have the Tribe Upgrade membership on there. We'll be doing podcasts in the near future on all these issues that we're facing and continue to hammer home the points that you need to focus on. You remember, exercise your Second Amendment rights. Be aware of the laws in your state, in your county, and stay alert. You know, that whole stay alert, stay alive is because we want to drive home situational awareness. All right, until next time, stay alert, stay alive.